We're in the lair of the honeydew carpenter. And you made this in one day.
Well, we had Easter with the kids and had to go to Easter dinner and stuff.
That is so
a whole
cool.
day. Look at the inner workings of it.
What does your brain look like?
Mush. No. But I do need to put some high temp RTV sealant on it. So like, I haven't put the lid on yet because I'm going to seal some of it from the inside. So that's what the inside looks like.
That looks amazing.
But so we'll see how that works. And they didn't have any. This is a 6-inch tee. They didn't have any 5-inch tees anywhere in this town. It's so I had to make one. So I made one last night. Oh, I wanted it to stay round while I made it, so I put my little disc in it.
Okay, so what's your channel name so everybody can go see how to be a master tinkerer?
I am the Honeydew Carpenter.
Awesome.
But here's a valve I made last night. We had Easter with our kids, and last night I went in my shop and I made a valve. And I don't know if you can see, but it opens and closes. Opens and closes. And this is what this is going to allow us to do is just to simply run this through the bench. And we'll be able to start the stove and get it all hot and get the chimney good and warm and sucking the way it should suck. And then we'll be able to open up and redirect the air to go through the mass bench. And I think the mass bench is going to be a really good addition to this stove. It's going to slow it down a little bit because it just rockets way too fast. It about sucks the flames right off the wood. It's crazy.
Yeah, because currently all the heat goes up the chimney. It's pulling. There's nowhere for that heat to go except out the chimney. We get a little bit of radiant heat out into the room, but not a lot. So it's doing its job. It's an amazing tool. Now we just need to use it with one other addition. The reason we needed the stove to be like this is it needed to be super light. We have plywood on the floor. It is not a concrete pad. And so in order to be able to put a rocket stove with a bench into a tiny house without a pad, AirCrete came to the rescue because how else are you going to insulate that heat riser? And he's insulated the stove itself. And you couldn't insulate with pure concrete on your chimney. It would be so much too heavy.
Oh gosh, yeah. Each 3-foot section of the chimney weighs about 10, 11 pounds.
Sometimes it gets really awkward with these two, working with them, because they have like these...
See? Look at that. Yeah, you're hot.
Oh, the awkwardness. Okay, so there's the AirCrete. That's AirCrete. So that's how much insulation he has going up that chimney. Good. How are you? Glad you guys had them.
Hey, remember that time you
I don't need one on that.
you thought about using sand?
That was awesome. Wasn't that Mel?
I come up with all the good ideas.
I think that was Melanie, wasn't it? Yay!
Can we turn it on?
We ready for that?
Yeah. I'll go get a,
I'm so excited. What is it, Darwin? What is that big birdseed tablet you've got there?
It's fire starter. But it isn't completely processed.
Because usually it comes in these cute little tablets that you just plop in your stove.
Yeah, and this is just what was left over when we made the last batch. And if I put the lid down.
Yep.
Okay, so is it going out the chimney?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it working. It's already sucking hard. That's crazy. Just that little bit of heat. You could put a candle in here and get this fluid.
That's amazing. Well, that's what I did last time.
Yeah.
So I had a problem where the flame was pulling off the wood. It wasn't getting hot enough around the wood to catch because
So you have to lift the door to
Yeah.
slow the flame down. See, it just sucks the door shut.
So okay, there we go.
Okay, so this gravel, you know, in its natural habitat is kind of like a filter, right? And where we have it just by itself, you could, when this whole thing gets warm, if we had like drilled some holes down here around it with some screen in, the air would filter in that and just kind of filter up out of here, and the rocks would stay hot. But ooh, it's getting hot now.
You okay? Don't do that anymore.
Darwin,
Don't touch the top.
Darwin, it's a rocket mass heater. It's going to be hot.
Woo! Yeah.
You okay?
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's starting to Yukon on me now. Just let it go straight down and swirl around it.
So
and,
that it has
and
a
it
chance to
starts
catch instead of getting
the
sucked
end.
off. Okay, guys, so you hear that roar? That's not the wind. That's the stove. So in a regular wood burning stove, a roar like that would mean you have any kind of creosote in that chimney and you're going to have a chimney fire. That's the sound of a chimney fire in a normal stove. So the beauty of the rocket stove, and especially this one, is that because it's insulated, the chimney's insulated, and there's no creosote, it can have that scream and burn with those high temperatures, but you're not going to have to worry about your house burning down because it's all so well contained and there's no creosote buildup. So I'm super, super, super excited.
Well, even this one's starting to get a little warm.
A little bit, because it's not
But-
completely filled.
This is cold wood over here. But yeah, that's hot.
Hear that?
I'm starting to smell
That is
The-
a rocket stove.
moisture from the rocks.
The rocks are starting to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, you can smell the dirt and the moisture off of them.
Whatever I did, I fixed it right.
I am so, so, so excited. So when we lifted this, we thought we were just lifting it, but what ended up happening was that this wave, like it did it again. It feels like you're opening an oven. Can you feel it? Can you feel
Oh
that when I
yeah,
do that?
I could feel it as soon as you opened it.
It's like a wet, like
We need
it
to
was
get
this wave of heat, like this cloud, and there's no smoke.
We need to get this covered with the rocks.
Yeah,
This is so exciting, isn't
it's so exciting. There's no smoke. There's no smoke, and it's 100% level. If anything, that side is a little lower than this side. Do you see that, Darwin?
Yeah.
Like that side is lower than that side, and it's still
But
pulling.
this, look, this is where it comes out of the rocket mass stove. It takes over a 1.5 foot drop. It downdrafts an extra 1.5 foot. As long as you get it to my hot air vacuum a little bit warm, it just sucks. Look. This thing is a rocket stove. It is rocketing.
Yippee!
It is just, it is
Because
roaring.
how many different masses do we have? We have the mass in the stove, we have the mass in these pebbles, and then we have the mass in the bench.
Yeah.
Right? 3 masses. The mass
Yeah.
in this part, the mass in this part, and then you've got the mass of the chimney too.
I'm just, because I've had a lot of questions on my side. Why didn't the bench work? Well, it does work.
And that's what you kept telling me is, Julie, it's just the chimney. Calm down, it's not the stove. It's just the chimney.
Yeah. She went all
Julie.
mama bear on me.
I did, because I'm
I was right, though, wasn't I?
You were, you're totally right. Remember when we were talking on the phone and I'm like, how else can you insulate that? Can you get a different kind of fiberglass insulation or
Right.
something? And then we're like, wait a minute, why don't you use AirCrete on the chimney? Darwin, could you use AirCrete on the chimney? And you're like, well, yeah, I could. I could use AirCrete on the chimney.
Yeah, and it worked great. It worked awesome. Look
Right?
in there. Look at that, still rocketing. I don't know.
Was it getting too cold up there?
No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure that the heat wasn't warping something and making the valve not work. The valve works great.
So when we opened it, it was like this cloud of warm air. It was a little bit moist. There was a little bit of moisture in the air. But it was
I would leave it
warm
open.
and let it just get rid of the water.
And yeah, because it was raining on that rock. There's
Okay.
moisture content in it. Yeah.
But here we go, pea gravel, not too heavy for the floor. The first time there was no doohickey, like wiggle, let's figure it out. He opened it a little bit, little tiny bit. It started to flow through. We didn't have a single puff of smoke. It actually made it rocket harder to have the bench in. So Darwin's going to tell me I told you so.
I told you so.
You told me so. Thanks, guys.
So cool.
Okay, so this is not the end of the AirCrete projects. The next one that Darwin's working on is teaching you how to create a form that you can pour your AirCrete into to make geodesic domes and garden beds and whatever. And
the next one
pathway.
is garden beds.
The next one's garden beds.
Yeah.
He's going from small projects to big projects. So just because you're not into garden beds doesn't mean go away, because we're only going to be on garden beds for a very short period of time. They're going to be the ultimate prepper garden bed. Termites can't eat through them. They're supposed to do really well with water retention, and they're going to be really neat looking.
Yeah, they're going to be interlocking bricks, AirCrete bricks. And they're going to be kind of a cob AirCrete, because they're going to be infused with a straw.
Yeah. So they're going to be amazing, so make sure to check that out. If you want to know about how to make your own AirCrete rocket mass heater, they can be...
Wasn't me.
It wasn't him. That can be on a lightweight, non-reinforced floor, which is a new thing for a rocket mass heater. I'm not sure anybody else has really done that in the way that Darwin has done it, because he has a 2-foot drop from the point of the stove down to the bench. There's a 2-foot drop. So he has a special vent that allows you to do that. He has the insulated chimney pipe, which is, if he hadn't done that, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
So it's a system.
It's a system. And every element is critical for it to work. The insulated heat chamber is critical. The heat riser is critical. The downdraft. The fact that it can draft from its exhaust portal down 2 feet and all the way through a mass bench is incredible.
And until we had the chimney in, it did not work. And
No,
the
it
vent.
didn't.
He has to have the vent because he warms the chimney up before he tries to run the smoke out through the bench. The fact that he can turn it and choose which way it goes and how open that vent is critical. So his channel.
And that video is going to be coming out soon, right, babe?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The woman behind the camera who doesn't have anything else to do but film.
So, yeah, on the valve. That one will be coming out soon. And then we're going to move on to some AirCrete projects. And I think some of these building methods that I'm going to be using for different, whether it be geodesic domes or sheds or whatever, are going to be something that people are going to find really exciting.
And you need
For
to
sure.
subscribe. You need to subscribe to their channel I love that you're here for my channel, but if you want to see how to do it, go to their channel. And make sure to share. If you like their videos, share them. If you like my videos, share them. But Melanie, her time is taken up with being a mom and cooking and chasing Darwin around with the camera, and then she has to edit it. And the more people who can share it so that they can spread the word, get more viewers, the more projects they can make. So make sure to share it. Facebook, Pinterest. Share it everywhere. They're brilliant, and we want to see them make that geodesic dome this summer rather than next year.
Oh.
So everything's toasty. The big difference that I'm feeling is that it's not roasting. Last year, the week that we used it, we had good temperatures down here, but then it would start to get hot. Even when we had the little tiny army stove in here, it would get really hot, like really hot. And then you go upstairs and it would be miserable. There'd be this line where it was bearable, and then you'd cross the line on the stairs to go upstairs and you almost couldn't breathe. It was so hot. So the difference with this one is it doesn't seem to burn as hot as it did before. He made the firebox smaller and he insulated it. And the pea gravel inside the shroud is the same. We never did get the bench to work last year. This year it's working like a charm. And the pipes that are going in and out of the bench are not burn hot. The side closest to the wall where the smoke is coming out, you can put your hand on it, it's comfortable. The one going in is hot enough that if you hold your hand on it, it's going to hurt, but it's not hot enough that if you touch it, it's going to burn you. So not a huge fire safety thing. You know, you don't want to put flammables right next to it, obviously, but it's not hot enough that it would start a fire. So I've already got a log in here that is 100% coal that's still burning away. So it's the gases in the wood that are burning right now, not the wood itself. And I am just enjoying the warmth. It feels probably, I would bet that it's about 72, 74 degrees in here. So my hands feel comfortable. My bum is a little cold because I'm on the cold floor, but it is the perfect temperature right now. It's not warm enough that it makes me want to go to sleep. It's not cold enough that it makes me want to put on more of a jacket. I do have on a little bit of a sweater. So I want to put a little bit more wood in here, but I'm waiting for the coals to finish burning, and they keep not finishing. Let's see, where's my pliers? Here they are. So I'm using pliers because Darwin put a little flap in the door that swings in and can be sucked in by the negative pressure that's created when the air goes in. And it has just that little lip that's open that allows the air to come in kind of pressurized. I'm not sure how else to put it. But it doesn't have a handle on it, so I have to use pliers. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but the flap is actually sucked in. The air is moving so quickly. But you can get sparks that come out of this when it's really rip snort, and you'll get a spark or a coal come out. So having the door here where I can actually turn the heat up and down makes a difference. One of the problems we were having was that the flame was actually sucking off the wood. It wasn't starting the wood on fire. It was just shooting right up the chimney. And so we did at one point have to close down this door and just open this one so that the flame would slow down and consume some of the wood. We did extend the hearth a little bit, the reason being that if a coal did fall out, you don't want it to fall on wood. And I would be even more comfortable if we had tile down, just so we didn't have combustibles here right in front of the stove. But we did put down more tin and more bricks. And then I like to use this to put ashes onto, or just to put down so that if I do have coals fall out, they're just right there on the tray. And then here's my wood. I checked about 45 minutes ago to see if I could finally put the log in. If I didn't have the rocket mass heater right now, I would be concerned about having a stove going in this weather. We've got probably somewhere between 30 and 50 mile an hour winds right now. It's really making a lot of noise out of the plastic on the greenhouse as well as on the front of the house. But I'm not the least bit concerned. I'm not the least bit concerned. There's no creosote in the chimney, and the wind isn't having hardly any effect on the chimney and how hard it's pulling up. One interesting fact is, indeed, the rocket stove took off further. It took off louder and stronger when we opened up the pipe to go into the bench, even though the bench was cold and had cold pebbles in it. It actually performed better with the chimney than without. So go figure. and you can hear the roaring. There we go. Now I'm going to close that because once again, it's too much. It's too much. So I'm going to close this down just a little bit. We had a really good bed of coals in there, and then I just put wood on top. So I closed down the damper just a bit. We still have this here sealed. And that way it kind of keeps things under control. If I wanted to really heat things up in here, I'd open that up and let it roar. If I really wanted it to be hot in here, I'd open that up so that the air is going directly underneath the wood and right up. But it's really comfortable in here right now. So that's as complicated as it gets. My mind is blown by this. I'm so excited. It's not too heavy for my floor. The pea gravel is spread out enough over the floor that it's not hurting the floor. And we have the rocket stove on the tin and then on the bricks, and it has the pea gravel in it too to warm it up. So this is warm, hot, warmish hot to the touch, and that is the pea gravel that's inside the shroud. And this is warm, hot to the touch because it has AirCrete in it.